What's up YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking, wait a minute, Nash, didn't you just do a video earlier? Yes, I did. But tomorrow, yeah, something caught my eye. Tomorrow I have an appointment with the dermatologist to start the process of getting this wart off of my thumb. I don't know if you guys can see it, it's right here. I've had that wart for a while, and I'm finally going to get rid of it after all these years. So, I have to go. I have to go to that dermatologist once a month to slowly remove it, but but I'm excited for it. I can't wait to finally get rid of it. But with that being said, today's video I have an updated Utopia deck profile for you guys. I have not dealt with this deck in quite some time, and I realized, and I was going through all of the Zexal weapons that were in the archetype, and I realized that a lot of these are actually pretty good. There are some though that are not that great, such as cards like there are some that are just not that great, such as the Dark Zexal weapon, Chimera Clad, the Phoenix Bow, the Ultimate Shield, the Sylphid Wing. These cards are not, they're okay, but they're just not as good as the 6 that are in this deck. And the main deck lineup is almost the same. I did make a couple of adjustments to the deck. Mainly because I wanted to see how consistent the deck would be compared to the last build that I had, which was kind of an interesting build, to say the very least, especially in the side deck. But this version is so much better. So hopefully you guys are ready for this deck profile. If you guys are, and you guys want to see more deck profiles in the future, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and follow me on my social media, including my Instagram, because that is where I will be posting the deck list. The links will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. If you guys want to send fan mail and you guys want me to open it up here on the channel, the info will be in the description as well. Let's get straight into it. First up are the Zexal weapons. So first up we have the one copy of Zexal weapon Eagle Claw. This card is insanity. So if you guys have never seen any of the Zexal weapons before, each of them has their own effect, each of them has their own unique effect. So there will be some of these Zexal weapons that'll have effects where they can pop, they can pop back row. Some will have effects where they can basically become a floodgate, or it could be a disruption on board to where your opponent will just scoop depending on what your board looks like. And Eagle Claw is one of them. If you guys have never seen this card before, it's a 5-star Winged Beast with 2,000 attack, 1,200 defense, and its effect reads, if your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours, you can special summon this card from your hand. So it basically acts as a Cyber Dragon, as a really weird Cyber Dragon of sorts. You can target one Utopia monster you control, equip this monster on the field to that target. It gains 2,000 attack once per turn. While this card is equipped to a monster, negate the first trap or effect activated on your opponent's field. When it resolves, you can only control one Eagle Claw. So this basically acts as sort of like a magician's left hand, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Yeah, so it basically acts as a really weird, like, magician's left hand of sorts, which is pretty good. Being able to stop floodgates, being able to stop, cars, such as like a bottomless trap hole, a torrential, or pretty much like any floodgate that might be at your opponent's disposal. This card could just stop them in their tracks. Next up, we have Tornado Bringer. Zexal Weapon Tornado Bringer. This card has a really unique effect where you can basically equip this card to any of your Utopia monsters. It gains 1300 attack and has an effect that says while this card is equipped to a monster, your opponent cannot target that monster with card effects. If a monster equipped with this card will be destroyed by battle, destroy this card instead. So this acts as a protection for your Utopia monsters, and not only that, yeah, blah, blah. I can't speak words, everybody. It basically acts as a double protection. So not only can it not be destroyed by card effects, but if it were to be destroyed in battle, you get to destroy Bringer instead of the monster, which is actually pretty cool. Next up, Lightning Blade. This is kind of a weird one. The Utopia monster that is equipped with Lightning Blade gains 1200 attack, but it has a weird effect where it says that while he's equipped to a monster, face-up Zexal weapons you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. And basically, it's the same thing. If a monster equipped with this card will be destroyed by a card effect, destroy this card instead. So Tornado Bringer prevents your Utopia monsters from being destroyed in battle. Lightning Blade prevents your Utopia monster from being destroyed by card effects. And then we also have Pegasus Twin Saber, which I don't think we got this one. Maybe. Actually, maybe we did. What was it? Lightning Overdrive? Was it? Yeah, I thought so. It was Lightning Overdrive. Sorry, guys. I just realized that I have 6 booster boxes sealed, and I have another one on the way for my partners at Collector Store. If you guys have not checked them out, I recommend you check them out. Link will be in the description below, as will their address. If you guys are in the St. Peter's area, be sure to check them out and let them and make sure you guys ask for Ben. Let him know that I sent you. He's an awesome dude. I've spoken to him multiple times. He's an awesome dude. So make sure you guys look for Ben. Let him know I said what's up and that I sent you over there. But moving on, Pegasus Twin Saber's effect reads that you can target one Utopia monster you control, equip this card to it, and that Utopia monster gains 1000 attack. And it says once per turn, while this card is equipped to a monster, you can negate a monster effect activated on your opponent's field. So basically, each of these Zexal weapons has their own unique effect. As I said before, Eagle Claw pretty much negate the first trap that's been activated. Tornado Bringer basically prevents your Utopia monster from being destroyed in battle. Lightning Blade is basically where your Utopia monster cannot be destroyed by card effects. Pegasus Twin Saber basically focuses on the monsters. Sleep Near Mail is another weird one, but what's even more cool about it is that it doesn't matter whether your Utopia monster were to be destroyed by battle or card effect. Either way, you can send Sleep Near Mail to your graveyard, and it's saved. Your Utopia monster is saved, which is really, really good. And then, and what's even more crazy is that, wait a minute. Sorry guys, I take that back. I'm actually reading this card again. So the effect of Sleeper Mail reads when this card you control is sent to your grave, because the equipped monster was destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or effect, you can target one Utopia monster in your grave and special summon it. So it basically acts as a monster reborn for your Utopias, which is really nice. And then the Asura Strike is basically a 1-card Raigeki where it can just, or it's rather a, is it a Raigeki? Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. It basically acts as like a 1-card Raigeki where it can just destroy your opponent's monsters once each during the battle phase, which is really nice. So those are all of the Zexal weapons that I am running in the deck. Moving on into the other monsters, we have 3 copies of Utopic Onomatopoeia. This card can basically just get out pretty much one of, one Zubaba, Gagaga, Gotogo, and of course or Dodoro monsters from your hand. This basically just helps you go into multiple Xyz monsters and just combo up from there, which is really nice. And the craziest part is that he locks you out of summoning monsters from the extra deck, except for Xyz monsters, which is irrelevant because the extra deck is nothing but Xyz monsters, which is really nice. We have 3 copies of Zexal Servants Ascended Sage, and 3 copies of Zexal Servants Armed Sage. Each of these two has their own unique effect when they're used together as material for a Utopia monster. Ascended Sage has, if you used, let's say you summon Utopia Double off of the effects of both Armed and Ascended Sage. Ascended Sage would gain, your Utopia Double will gain the effect from Ascended Sage, where it reads that you can add a rank up magic normal spell from your deck to your hand, and Armed Sage basically allows you to add a Zexal weapon from your deck to your hand, which is really nice. So it's basically a Stratos Spell Trap Rhoda for the whole deck, when they're both used together to summon out a Utopia monster, which is really, really insane. There's no other way to say it. And not only that, but Ascended Sage has a first effect where it reads that if you have no cards on board, you can summon him directly from your hand, and you can then special summon Armed Sage from your hand as well. Normal summon your Utopic Onomatopoeia, and then go for the two, the Gaga coat, and then the go glove from your hand, and then you can just combo up in there, go into a pretty decent amount of Xyz monsters, and combo off from there, which is really nice. And speaking of those 2 monsters, we got the two Dodoro Dwarf Go Glove, as well as the 2 Zubaba Bancho Gaga Coat. Yes, I know I sound like a baby saying it, but that's okay. So Go Glove has the effect where it says during your main phase you can special summon 1 Zubaba or Gaga from your hand, and if you control, and it also has another effect where it reads, if you control a Go or Dododo monster except this card, while this card is in your grave, you can special summon this card by banishing when it leaves the field. So you basically get to bypass the banish effect just by using Glove as Xyz material, which is really nice. And then Gaga Code is sort of similar. So the effect reads, if you control a Zubaba or Gaga monster except this card, while this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card, and it says that you can target a Go or Dodo monster in your grave and special summon it, and you're not allowed to summon monsters from the extra deck except Xyz monsters. So they basically work hand in hand, which is really nice. Helps you go into Utopia double, get out your double or nothing, summon Utopia, combo up from there, GG no re. And then to round up the monsters, we have 2 copies. Excuse me. To round up the monsters, To round up the monsters, we have 2 copies of Utopia and 2 Karibo. Utopia has a really interesting effect. So it reads, if an Xyz monster or monsters is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you can target, and you can send one other card from your hand or field to the grave. Add 1 Xyz, Automon, Zexal, or number spell or trap from your deck to your hand. So this is basically another form of spell and trap Rhoda to help you go into, to help you search out cards, such as your rank ups, your Xyz change tactics, Automata pickup, Automata para, Zexal construction, pretty much anything that you may have at your disposal, and you can just activate it right away, which is really nice. And then Astral Karibo has a very interesting effect. So it says you can reveal 1 number of Xyz monster in your extra deck. Special summon this card from your hands, and if you do, this card's level becomes the revealed monster's rank. And while this card is face up in the monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except number of Xyz monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. A number of Xyz monster that was summoned using this card on the field's material gains the effect where it cannot be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effects. So it's basically another form of protection for the deck itself, which is really nice. But that's pretty much it for the monsters. I know it's not as like it's sort of anticlimactic, I know, but I ended up adding in a couple new Zexal weapons, mainly because I had the feeling that the Zexal weapons that I was going to use were pretty busted. Turns out they were. But moving on into the spells, for the 1-ofs in the deck, we got the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster for obviously back row removal. Reinforcement, the 1 Rhoda, in case if you have the Ascended Sage, but you don't have the Arm Sage, you can just go ahead and activate Rhoda, add the Arm Sage to your hand, special summon the Ascended Sage from your hand, special summon the Arm Sage, overlay them into your Utopia double, and just a combo off from there, which is really nice. The 1 called by, I still don't know why this card is at 1. Hang on, guys. Sorry, guys, my neck is hurting a bit. I apologize. Anyway, I still don't know why this card is at 1. I guess Konami loves hand traps. I don't know, what the fuck. But still, you want your plays to go through. Call by just basically ensures that your plays do go through. We got the 1 double or nothing, obviously for the Utopia double plays, and then for the rank up spells, we have the 1 Zexal Force, the 1 Numeron Force, the Hyper Utopia Force, and then the Limited Bearings Force. Zexal Force effect reads, target 1 Xyz monster control, special summon from your extra deck a 1 Utopia or Zexal weapon monster that is a rank higher than that monster you control by using it as material, and if you do, take 1 Zexal weapon or Zexal servants monster from your deck, place it on top of your deck, which is treated as an Xyz summon. If your opponent's life points are at least 2,000 higher than yours, you can banish the card from your grave, draw 1 card. You can only use this effect once per turn. This is basically a way to get 1 up over your opponent to get out your Pegasus Twin Saber or even your Eagle Claw for that matter, and you're just basically good to go with that. Numeron Force is basically Dark Ruler no more. So if you were to use Numeron Force and you summon and you go into let's say Utopia into Utopia Ray, and then you activate Numeron Force and go into Utopia Ray V or Utopia Beyond, basically, or I guess Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray, Utopia Lightning, or Utopia Ray V, basically Numeron Force acts as a Dark Ruler no more, for both sides of the field. But if one of those three, the Leo Ray, Lightning, or even Ray V is the only one on board, it don't matter. It basically counts as a one-sided Dark Ruler no more. That's all there is to it. It's just that broken. Now, Utopia Force is probably one of the most insane cards ever, because if you summon Utopia Ray V and it instantly gets impermed, you can then activate your Utopia Force, and you can go into either number 99 Utopia Dragonair or number 93 Utopia Kaiser, which was a Worlds promo from a number of years ago. And both these cards are insane, and I'll explain what those two cards do once we get into the extra deck. But that being said, Hyper Rank Up Magic Utopia Force just basically lets you go into your Kaiser or your Dragonair really quickly, which is really nice. Excuse me. And then of course you've got the Limited Variance Force, mainly to help summon out Utopia Ray V a lot quicker, just like the New World Force. But Limited Variance Force basically is just another random rank up magic that I thought was pretty nice to play, mainly because of the artwork. Yeah, I know, it's a weird card, but still, it's pretty good. Moving on into the rest of the spells, we got 3 Xyz Change Tactics. Anytime you summon a Utopia Xyz monster, you can pay 500 points, draw a card. Yes, it does lower your life points extensively, but if you're able to get a Pot of Greed out of it, you're pretty much just good to go on that. Then of course we have the 2 Automata Pickup. This basically is sort of like a kind of like a second and third Rhoda of sorts, which is pretty cool. But it also has, but it also has another interesting effect. So the effect reads when this card is activated, you can add 1 Automata card from your deck to your hand, except on an Automata Pickup. You can target 1 Zubaba, Gagaga, Go-Go-Go, or Dodo monster you control. All monsters you currently control become that monster's level until the end of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. You can only use this effect once per turn, and you can only activate 1 Automata Pickup per turn. So basically, it helps you further extend into your Utopia plays, basically, which is really nice. Then of course we have the 3 Automata Para. This is basically another form of Rhoda. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You basically have 9 Rhodas in the deck, counting the 3 Zexal Construction, which I'll get to here in a second. But Automata Para's effect reads send 1 card from your hand to the grave, add up to 2 of these monsters from your deck to your hand. 1 Zubaba, 1 Gagaga, 1 Go-Go-Go, and 1 Dododo. Basically, the Gagaga Coat and Go-Go-Go Glove are the main cards you're going to be running, or you're going to be mainly searching for, as well as the Utopic Automatopoeia, because it actually counts as one of all 4, which is hilarious. And then of course the 3 Zexal Construction basically just helps you search out your rank up spells a lot quicker. And then for the traps, all counter traps, we got 2 numbers protection and a solemn warning for a little added, no pun intended, protection. Moving on into the extra deck, all Xyz monsters. We have the 1 Gagaga Cowboy, mainly to finish off games in case you used up all of your monsters to attack your opponent. You can then just overlay two 2 4-star monsters into Cowboy in defense. Ditch one of its materials. 800 points of damage to the face of your opponent. GG no rate, plain and simple. We have the 1 Tornado Dragon for even further back row removal. Next up we have the Zexal Servant's Utopic Sage, which is kind of a weird one, but it's pretty cool. So the card requires 2 level 4 monsters, so sort of generic, and it says you can detach 2 materials from this card, special summon 1 Zexal weapon or Zexal Servant's monster from your deck. Also, for the rest of the turn, you can only attack with number monsters, and you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Xyz monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. If a Utopia or Utopia Xyz monster you control, whose original attribute is light, will be destroyed by battle or card effect except this card, you can banish this card from your field or grave instead. This is basically another form of Dragon Lords where it can't be where your Utopia monsters cannot be destroyed in battle, which is really nice. Next up, we have the three copies of Utopia, pretty much the bread and butter of the whole deck. If you're not running this card, you're not playing the deck. Just being completely honest on that one. We got the one Utopia double to search out the lone copy of Double or Nothing to not only thin out the deck so you can see your Zexal weapons a lot quicker, but it also helps go into Utopia, and it gains 5,000 attack, and you can detach Utopia's material to stop its own attack, activate Double or Nothing, 10,000 to the face, plain simple. Next up, we are running a single copy of a brand new Utopia monster, which for some reason Nexus decided not to put the artwork on here, which I do apologize for, but it is known as number 39 Utopia Rising. If you guys have never seen me talk about this card on the channel before, it's a rank 4 Light Warrior Xyz with 0 attack and 2,000 defense, and requires 2 level 4 monsters. And the effect reads, if this card is special summoned, you can target 1 number Xyz monster in your grave, except this card, special summon it in defense position, then you can transfer this card's materials to that monster. If you Xyz summon, you can special summon this card from your grave, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. So basically, it just helps further extend your plays to go into cards like Utopia Beyond, Kaiser, Dragon, depending on what route you want to take. Next up, we have the one Utopia Ray. Just helps go into Utopia Ray a lot quicker if you activate Limited Variance Force, which you can, which is pretty funny. Ultimately, Leo Utopia Ray, kind of an odd one, but it basically acts as a second Utopia Ray. So the effect reads, once per turn, you can detach a material from this card, equip 1 Zexal weapon from your deck or extra deck to this card as if it were equipped by that monster's effect. This effect's activation and effect cannot be negated. Once per turn, while the card is equipped with a Zexal weapon monster, as a quick effect, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and if you do, have its attack. So basically, it's sort of like Imperm with legs, basically, which is really cool. We got the one Utopia Lightning, which just ensures that your opponent's monsters get destroyed really easily. We have the one Utopia Ray V to basically destroy your opponent's monsters, but to also deal damage to them. It's sort of like a one-sided ring of destruction of sorts, which is really nice. Then of course we got the number 39 Utopia Beyond. This is kind of an odd one, but the card is so good. It says, so the effect reads, if this card is Xyz summoned, the attack of all monsters your opponent currently controls become 0. So this basically just ensures that you get to deal a good amount of damage to your opponent really fast, and it's essentially GG no rate, depending on what their board state looks like. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can detach a material from this card, target a face-up Exceeds monster you control, and a Utopia monster in your graveyard. Banish the first target, and special summon the second target, and then gain 1250 life points, which that's actually pretty good. You're basically gaining half of the attack. You're gaining life points equal to half the attack of Utopia, which is really cool. And then, of course, the two that I mentioned, Utopia Kaiser and Utopia Dragonar. Kaiser's effect, if you guys have never seen this card before, I never talked about this on the channel before, as far as I know. It's a rank 12 Light Warrior exceeds 2500 attack, 2000 defense, and requires 2 or more number exceeds monsters with the same rank that have material. And the effect reads, once per turn, you can special summon rank 9 or lower number monster with 3000 or less attack that have different ranks from each other from your extra deck up to the number of materials with different names attached to this card, but their effects are negated. Then detach the material from this card for the card. For the rest of this turn, unless this effect was negated, you cannot special summon monsters. You cannot special summon, and any battle damage your opponent takes becomes halved. While you control another number exceeds monster, this card cannot be short about or card effects. This card is a house. Basically, it's sort of like a floodgate of sorts, which is really nice. And you can actually, funny enough, you can summon Kaiser off of the Utopia Force, which is crazy, which is insanely crazy. And then, of course, the Dragonar is basically another really good but semi-broken card. The effect reads, as a quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card. Special summon from your extra deck 1 numbered monster that has a number between 1 and 100 in its name and is treated as an Exceed summon. The turn you activate this effect, other monsters you control cannot attack directly. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except it exceeds monsters. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change the attack of that opponent's monster to 0. So, basically, it's another form of Utopia Beyond on steroids, basically, which is really nutty. Moving on into the side deck, this is just my preference based on the main deck, and depending on what deck you will be going up against in at like locals or YCS or whatever. This is like my personal preference. So for my side deck, I have 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Ghost Bell, a singular copy of Baron de Fleur, and you guys are probably wondering, wait a minute, Baron, that's a synchro. How are you able to summon this card with no tuners? That is where Waking the Dragon comes into play, because Baron does not have a summoning requirement. It does not have a summoning condition. And Waking the Dragon allows you to summon Baron with just from out of nowhere, which is really cool. We got the 1 Monster Reborn in case if if you want to resummon, any of your Zexal weapons, then you're able to do that. 2 copies of Exceeds Import. Actually, you know what? I just realized something. Do I even need Baron? I gotta think. No, you know what? No, I don't need Baron. I'm gonna change it to Zeus. And the reason why I'm gonna change it to Zeus and then take the Waken the Dragon out and do a second copy of Solemn Warning is because I just realized that with Exceeds Import, you can use Exceeds Import on something like Utopia AV. So let's see. Overlay Ascended Sage, Armed Sage into Utopia. Trigger trigger the two sages effects, get out. I'll say Utopia Force, Arm Sage's effect. You basically get out. You can get out your Eagle Claw. Rank up Utopia into Utopia Ray V. If you have limited Barion's Force on board, you can then activate it. Summon Utopia Ray V. Activate Utopia Force and go into the Dragonair or the Kaiser. You basically have what? 2, 3, 4, 5? That's what? 5 materials. That's 5 material. That would be 5 materials on the Kaiser or the Dragonair. Activate Exceed's Import. Target one of your opponent's monsters. Attach it to the Dragonair or the Kaiser as a material, and then just go into your battle phase. You basically have a pretty decent amount of board wipes to go into Zeus, which is really nice. So Exceed's Import is also in here. Only 2 copies though, mainly because of the fact that Zeus is a fucking house. We have the 2 Mistaken Arrests. This is basically another version of Droll and Lockbird. So if you don't have Droll and Lockbird, Mistaken Arrest is basically the next best option. So if you guys have never seen this card before, it's a quick play spell that reads, until the end of your next turn, after this card resolves, neither player can add cards from the deck to the hand except by drawing that. This would basically lock out the Sages, pretty much all of your search cards. The only cards that would not be locked out would be the Exceed's Change Tactics, because you're drawing them. So it's a really weird Flickgate, but it's pretty busted, especially if you're going up against decks like Sword Soul and Drytron and Pendulums that do a lot of searching. Mistaken Arrest just stops them in their tracks, which is really nice. Next up, we have the 2 Gozen match. Because of the fact that all of the Utopia monsters are light attribute, with the exception of the Tornado Dragon and the Cowboy, Gozen match basically locks your opponent. It locks your opponent, especially if they're running a deck that has multiple copies of like one attribute. Then it's pretty much just fucked up. It's pretty much... Actually, you know what? Hold on. You know what? Fuck the Gozen match. I just realized Gozen match sucks in this deck. I'm gonna do Rivalry Warlords, because Rivalry... Or you know what? Do I even care about Rivalry or Gozen? No, I don't think I do. You know what? I'm going to change them to Shared Ride. And the reason being is because Shared Ride is basically another form of Max C, and it's basically the perfect out to Mistaken Arrest. So if your opponent, it would be a perfect out to the Mistaken Arrest, sort of. But what's cool about Shared Ride is that whenever your opponent adds cards from their deck to their hand or their graveyard, for that matter, you get to draw a card. So it basically acts as like a really weird like Max C. And then moving on into the traps of the side, we have the two Infinite Impermanents and the second Solemn Warning. So all in all, the deck is actually pretty busted. Excuse me. In my honest opinion. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the deck profile. If you guys did and you guys want to see more in the future, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any future content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on my social media, including my Instagram. I will be posting the deck list on my Instagram about an hour or so before or rather after the video gets posted. Links will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash. sign out.